Blink Infantry plus crowd control artifacts is equal in total walkdown in PvP. Most players only blink to repositioning, but adding traps make everything, or basically are turning everything in the dead scene. I will talk about some artifacts that is going to bring pretty decent stoppers, time control, and basically your enemy cannot escape. And I'll start with the first artifact, and this is Deathless Veins. Why I actually picked this artifact is simple reason. This artifact is actually a free-to-play artifact. Let's start from there. You can get him from the normal artifact draws. You have the probability 1.5% like rest of the artifacts here, but this bad boy here can actually be a game changer. But why you actually want to use Deathless Veins in the combat? And the simple answer for this is they are rooting the enemy and stop from retrieving. Something that I can say also are doing the Spiritborn Torque. Maybe if I open the artifacts it's going to be one idea more clear. But these two artifacts is helping you to actually stop the players from retrieving. Spiritborn Torque is going to taunt them. It's not going to stun them or something like this, but everybody will not be able to retrieve, as you can see on the video here. And I can say the same for this artifact here, which since the infantry is second by march speed in Call of Dragons, is going to be very easy for you to catch retrieving marksmen or mages. And this is extremely important if you want to make more merits, or if you want to destroy the enemy before they escape, because sometimes the players get very cocky and they rush to the choke point, they start pushing at one point. Since the distance are pretty big, they cannot retreat that faster, and this is your perfect moment for this type of artifacts that is just going to root them, taunt them, and even maybe stun them. I can show you this artifact here that is also doing something interesting, or control over the enemy, and this is actually a stun. And I think this type of artifacts is going to serve you extremely well. Now let's talk about some other artifact that I think everybody playing Call of Dragons is having, and majority of the people are familiar with this artifact, but they don't understand quite well the value of this artifact. And I'm talking about the Freezing Ring. Yeah, obviously you're going to just become this ice bubble. Everybody who is hitting you is not going to do some kind of damage to you when this thing actually finish. But this is not the real power of the Freezing Ring. It's actually the strategy behind. And I'm going to share with you one simple way you can actually use it. For example, you're in this castle, and from there is a fight that is in this choke. This castle is a little far away, so maybe it's not a good example, but still is going to do the work. From this castle, having make a way in Call of Dragons, I'm going to have a special video for this specific talent and show you specific policy and show you the best ways to use the make away. But by having a make away, you can rush through the enemies and basically come close to this mine here, this gem mine. You're going to have enough time, especially the infantry is having a charge and etc. And what you're going to do, you're going to go behind the enemy. So everything here, if you're not using blink or storm arrow, let's say it like this, to blink with your infantry, it's not actually needed. And Freezing Ring is going to do even better job from the blink itself. And this is you're going to sneak behind everybody and you can immediately pop up this artifact. And what is special about this artifact? First of all, they have to kill, they have to start hitting your legion. But second, you're still blocking them. This is the important thing. You're still blocking the enemy. Enemy cannot escape. They're going to try everything they can just to go away from your block, but you have 10 seconds where you're going to not receive any kind of damage and you're going to sit there. Believe it or not, 10 seconds in PvP is brutal amount of time. And if like 1-2 people, one after other, are sending infantry like this, you're even going to stop, kill all the enemies at 2 or 3 times less casualties if you're using the blink strategy. So freezing ring, some people are using it over the cavalry, which is also fine. You can use it with cavalry. It's going to do pretty nice job there also. But it's one of the ways where you can basically stop your enemy. You're not having crewds to stop them from retrieving, but this 10 seconds immobilization there is something like a stopper for the enemy, and they cannot escape that faster, because most of the times, I mean, the majority of the time, the infantry blink is very hard to be synchronized. So somebody blink and in 10 seconds they're gone, and the enemy retreat. Till everybody understand is needing some time to go at the place and etc. But with freezing ring, you basically double the time that you're sitting there. If your legion get destroyed for 10 seconds, right now it's going to be 20 seconds, and you're going to stop everybody from retrieving. I think this is the power of the freezing ring. It's not only just to taunt enemy artifacts, rage skill execution, and all these things, which is very nice, don't get me wrong. If you use cavalry and infantry, the majority of the players are playing with zoom out because it's way more easy to see the whole picture, but they cannot see what kind of artifact the enemy is using against them. And still you understand, maybe this guy is having freezing ring, trigger it. You already use maybe your artifact, you maybe use your rage skills and etc. And you give free time for the enemy to actually hit your mages, marksmen, or your own infantry. That's why I think freezing ring, this is what the people know, but the thing the majority of the people don't know is you can, with make a way, just go behind the enemy, trigger this freezing ring, and they're going to get stuck at there for 2 times more time. And this is going to give you something that I really like, and I don't talk that much over this channel, but I should actually start talking more about this, and this is time control. Why does time control actually matter? Every second given to your enemy or to your alliance is giving advantage. Imagine if this artifact, you don't use this artifact, you just use one normal blink, you blink behind, your legion disappear in the 10 seconds. You're giving 10 seconds for your alliance to do some kind of damage, because the moment they kill your infantry, they're going to move out, and if you chase, you're going to enter in the choke points, and from there is a lot of ways how the things will go. But by going with frost ring, just going to give 2 times more. And imagine to give 10 seconds for over 100 and maybe 200 legions, because 20 people on the battlefield with 5 legions, this is 100 legions. Imagine 10 seconds free DPS for 100 legion. It can be 40 people, 50, 60 people online, maybe 100 people online. Imagine what advantage every second are giving to your alliance if you execute the proper way, maybe your freezing ring. Obviously for Deathless Vines is going to catch the retrieving enemies and actually kill everything you can with your mages and marksmen when the infantry catch them. But with the freezing ring, this is a blink but upgraded blink artifact, and that's why I think time control actually matter. Every second give to your army to do some DPS is crazy, especially if you have like 100 people online, even 50 people online. This is just crazy. 250 legions is going to get free DPS, because the people, what they're doing, the moment you blink with your infantry or they see infantry between the mages, they start hitting this infantry because they know this infantry currently is going to stop them for retrieving, and you're going to gather all the attentions of all the legions that are stuck over your infantry, which is giving free DPS for everybody. Now let's talk about the cavalry. This is something also important. And can this actually stop a cavalry running? And the simple answer is actually yes. Now if you use Deathless Veins, you're going to basically root them. This is one of the artifacts. The cavalry is not more different from mages and marksmen from point how they can actually get stop it. I mean, not too much, there is a difference there. But still, if you trigger Spiritborn Torque, you're going to taunt this cavalry. If you trigger Deathless Vines, you're going to root this cavalry. If you trigger, for example, Greymar Warhammer, you're going to stun the cavalry. So cavalry is not something like an exception from all of the troops. All of the controls can be applied to the cavalry. Now, obviously, the tactic there is way more different from what you're doing against mages and marksmen with your infantry, but still, you can just put your infantry next to your mages and marksmen, and if the cavalry try to flank, just go with your Goresh Kuma, something that I plan to do, and trigger your Spiritborn Torque. This thing needs only 400 rage to get triggered, so it's going to even be more faster from the cavalry artifacts. You're going to taunt 5 legion. Obviously the difference here is going to be in the seconds, how much time you're going to have them taunted. It's 3 seconds, can go max to 5 seconds. I definitely think this artifact should be leveled up if somebody want to run some infantry on the battlefield, but it's just enough. It's just enough also for the cavalry. So this is the couple words I was looking to say in this video about Deathless Vines and Freezing Ring, giving some tips how you can actually use them. Don't forget to like the video, also subscribe if you're new to this channel, if you enjoy daily Call of Dragons tips, tricks and stuff like this. Maybe something extra I can say is I point some of the artifacts, but I still believe that Storm Arrow is going to be, for the synergy push, the best artifact, where when the people say, okay, we're blinking boys, and like 6, 7, 8 infantry blink, the moment this thing happen, all the mages is going to go and marksman is going to get sent at home. But there is one idea, more clever way to do it if you're doing it alone, because you basically need to make a way for the frost barrier. So yeah, this will be for this video, guys. I really hope you enjoy it, and I wish you a great day. See you in the next video.